Hello Exiles, it's been a while since I've last posted something here, but rest assured I'm still playing PoE. I'm still doing the same thing that I do every league start. It is rush level 100. I think I didn't play World, at least not past a certain point. I league started as both, but I'll get to that later. The actual level 100 I did on a Wonder. It performed pretty good, but I could have been faster. It took me around 2 days, I think. I'm recording this the day after I hit level 100 because I was really tired in the evening and I just want to go to bed. I think I made it. I made it to rank 18 in the softcore ladder for anyone who cares about that. So it's pretty good. Thank you for the Goblin Troop, whoever just bought something for Faustus. Always great entertainment. The build is pretty unoptimized still. If I had like practiced it more, maybe fleshed it out a bit, I could have easily saved a couple hours off of that time. Probably done under 40 hours easily. Had I just not, or rather had I just prepared a bit better. But it still went reasonably well. The concept is basically that we take a 5-way carry build and make it a bit more solo playable. So that it doesn't just stand in 5 ways, but also can do Legion and maps, can do breach and stuff. And it ended up pretty good. It's reasonably tanky, over 6k hit pool. We have reasonable evasion when my Guardian's Blessing is up. Without, it's not that great, but it's still fine. Roughly 70% avoidance is pretty good. Damage isn't too great for single target, but it is enough to kill like regular Pinnacle bosses, so not much of an issue there. The core concept of this build though is that we stack AoE. We are using currently 3 of these cluster jewels. I'll use 4 later, but I don't have the passive points right now because I'm still on Inspired Learnings. Once I get Headhunter, I can drop a lot of points here and then get another large cluster jewel here, and can also fit another medium. Yeah, but each of these mediums gives us 35% increased AoE. We're using 3 right now. It's 105% from our cluster jewels. We have another 18 from Dying Sun and 12 from our gloves, so that's another 30. Gets us to 135. Another 15 from our amulet, that's 150. Then, if you want to, and I'm still split on that, you can use Zeal's Amplify, which gives you another 50% AoE. You've killed enough enemies recently, which with this build will generally be the case. The clear speed is really, really fast. So yeah, this gives us 50% AoE. This gets us then to 200% increased AoE total, which is really, really good. Kinetic Blast explosions are just huge if you have this much AoE scaling. Reason why I'm split on Zeal's Amplifier is because the other alternative is Ash's Mirror. This item is really strong. Gives you a ton of damage. Because it gives you flat damage for each enemy you've killed recently. And if there's one thing that wands are generally lacking, it's flat damage. If I'm in 5 ways, this thing easily like triples, quadruples my damage, which I would argue in many cases is better than dealing extra AoE, although my damage is already so high that even Zeal's Amplifier feels perfectly fine to play. It's a bit up to you. You can try out both. Both these shields are basically free. They cost a few chaos each. If you want to play this, just try around. Yeah, otherwise the build is actually pretty basic still. My wand is pretty good. I crafted this with a combinator. I think there's a way to make this with the Genesis tree where you try to get a fractured base and then afterwards you can use essences to craft it further. The combinator worked and alterations were very, very cheap early on, so I went with that. Large cluster jewel here. You can craft this with a fossil combo. Just go on Craft of Exile, input these exact mods. Make sure to get a level 50 to 67 base and then let it calculate which exact combinations to use. This is pretty easy to get. These are a bit harder. I would recommend to just buy these Assert Dominance and Towering Threat. If you have to craft these yourself, you probably have to do alt spamming. or Reforge Life on the Harvest Bench. Current price of alterations, I actually don't know. Like 5.5, 6 to 1. Not sure which one is better at that point. Again, I would just recommend to buy these. People are mass crafting AoE clusters, and extra 5-way carries usually want a different notable here. I think it's called Expensive Might, or something like that, which gives you AoE when stationary. Because we're a solo build, we can't use that, so we are using Towering Threat instead. And because people are mass crafting these, you can usually get these for a reasonable price. So yeah. How did I actually progress this build? Kickstarted as bows. Obviously, I leveled with Rain of Arrows until I got my Elliot of the Spectrum. And I took this basically all the way to 4 Void Stones. Afterwards, I found a bit of Expedition, just to get my currency going, get a lot of alterations for my Recombinator, you know, just get some divines to get the basic gear, to get like the cluster jewels crafted. And then once I had my wand and my large cluster jewel, as well as these 2 mediums, I swapped over. Was pretty good at that point. Really, the rest of the gear is basically the same, right? Like the gloves I was using on the bow version already, the boots as well, chest piece as well, helmet, depth rush, like all of these items are also usable on a bow build, so there wasn't much of like a gear swap at that point outside of the wand that I crafted with a combinator. And the shield, but those are basically free. Those don't cost much. Yeah, so once I'd swapped to the Wander, I started doing Legion. I could have done Legion on the bow build as well. It was perfectly fine for that, but I just went with Expedition this time. Farming logbooks, running logbooks. I also bought some. It was decently profitable. Let me just demonstrate how this build actually looks while mapping to see, to kind of showcase what you can expect. You can see, you can't see anything. I basically just send the entire screen with projectiles and massive AoE explosions. Visual clarity is essentially 0. I don't actually want to do this, it takes forever. Let's just do this Legion. Stand in the middle and spin around. Yeah, sometimes you can actually pop the Legion entirely just from spinning around in the middle. But occasionally some mobs survive. Got it. But yeah, you can see you easily blow up almost the entire Legion instantly. No issues clearing this. You don't even need to inspire learning, so this one is more than enough to do Legion and maps. I think this is enough. Kind of got an idea how this looks like when actually clearing. I also have a clip of me doing a 5-way when I hit level 100. I will attach it at the end, so you can watch that. It's very, very good for that, obviously. It was kind of made with that in mind. And yeah, this is basically how I progressed. Campaign with Rain of Arrows, then Elliot of the Spectrum, until 4 Void Stones, and I had a bit of currency, which I farmed with Expedition. Then I respec to the Wander build, and ran Legion, which I used to farm emblems, of course. Also bought some, because you need a lot. And then I just ran 5 ways, just spinning in a circle for 10 hours straight. It got pretty boring towards the end, but it got me to level 100 quickly, so it was worth it. I will make an update video once I've progressed this a bit further. I've made a version of this in standard before the league, where I had like a short teaser of the build already uploaded. On that I used an explodey chest, and I really want to get to that point where like scaling explodes with this, because that feels really, really nice to play. It's already really good, kind of in this state. but playing with explosions is always better. So once I have that, I will make another update. But for now, that's all I have to say. I wish you have a great league. I wish you had a great league start, and yeah, goodbye.